Hi, this is Danielle Zana. I'm wanting to do a video response with Computing Forever. First of all, I want to say I really love your technology videos with computers and that, but I am deeply I just don't subscribe to your bloody barbaric, primitive views with politics. Which is why I originally unsubscribed from your channel, because I just didn't want your bullshit political views in my inbox. Because I was only interested in your information on what you really say about computers, operating systems, smartphones, tablets, gadgets, and whatnot. And I often share and agree with a lot you say about with your technology reviews and things like that. The way planned obsolescence has become a major thing in recent operating systems. The problem with Apple that is going downhill with the operating systems and the recent hardware where it's very difficult to upgrade, which is why I got myself a Hackintosh. So when I've also got a Mac, I'm using my MacBook Pro. But I'm going to do a video response with something because I'm just sick and tired of having to deal with this sort of ignorance about gender and gender issues. I just don't like it. It's put today what I found in my inbox. It kind of conjured old memories in the past of childhood, which I kind of kept suppressed. And yes, even though I've unsubscribed from it, your video still popped up in my feed, and they still do. When I click and watch them, then they go away. Your previous video you did 5 days ago, that's what it only seems to do that on my iPad. So, which is a bit odd, but this recent video that you done has got me to the point where I have to do a freaking response to you. Because I'm just sick and tired of this ignorance and people just climbing on the bandwagon. I have to deal with this bullshit every single day. I was just about to get ready for the art studio. And what I do is when I'm lying in bed, waking up, I sometimes browse and read things, watch a few videos and whatnot on my iPad. So this is recently on my iPad, where I see the video of you. When you click on it and you watch it, it does not go in the feed. See, it's still in there. So if I click on it,
I have to say in general, Apple's WWDC 2016.
And if I close the app, I don't think you would show up again until you upload a new one. Go load that. There we go. Oh, there we go. There's your other one. Why Hollywood is doomed. Yeah. You're still showing up in my feed, even though I'm not unsubscribed to you. There's nothing I can do about that, but I am really annoyed, upset, annoyed about your ignorance and promoting of ignorance when it comes to gender issues with transsexual people. And see, you can see I'm unsubscribed there, and I'm still getting the feed. So now I'm going to go on and respond to this particular video. Before I do that, and then about your views on feminism and things like that. Have you ever asked yourself, why does extreme feminism exist? Did you ever ask yourself why? When you think about it, whenever there's a reaction, there's always an opposite equal reaction. The result of extreme feminism is because of the discrimination towards women. particularly if you know that much of secret societies like Freemasonry kind of, how would I put in word, hog or uh, involved in controlling many of job opportunities, places in state, any form of social thing like in a work-related place and all that. And Freemasonry is an all-male um, cult that, or society, it depends how you're looking at it. Because I'd say the cult because they follow particular religious doctrines and beliefs like a religion, and they even have temples. So what the problem is, the reason why there's extreme feminism is because of Freemasonry, and Freemasonry discriminates women on a large extent. That is why you have the opposite and equal reaction happening, where women begin to fight for quality and they go overboard. And it's because of this Freemasonry thing. And no woman's allowed in Freemasonry. And when you have Freemasonry, you have the opportunity to get into jobs easily. You have to all be employed. You have the opportunity to climb up the higher levels in government or whatever corporation you're employed by, or whatever thing. So that is why there is extreme feminism. And I'll tell you this straight, so you can actually go get down and start thinking even deeper. You very much say, oh, feminism, oh, it's going wild, it's going crazy, it's going overboard, it's going beyond fighting for equality and all that, and then you get the social justice warriors and all that shit. You need to think deeper into the problem in order to find a better solution. And and then you also get the Bohemian Grove. That is that's what the real rich elites and politicians go there, and it's all male only. And how they treat the women that work there, that clean or serve food and drinks, whatnot at that camp, they're treated like shit. So now you know why there's extreme feminism. It's an opposite equal reaction to Freemasonry and all these other secret societies that are behind the scenes or form these niche cliques when it comes to employment, politics, and whatnot. So now I'm going to actually go to your video and talk about respond to that, because it's ruined my day of going to the studio, and I need to get this done and over with. Respond to you so I can, continue, and hopefully you'd learn something from it. And because I'm really, I just don't like. I didn't even like unscrubbing from your channel because I liked your tech reviews, but this political shit and this ignorance about genders is just like, that's it. I can't be dealing with it. Best way to deal is just, voice your opinion and unsubscribe. But somehow I still get your feeds on the iPad. So there we go. I'm going to respond to this.
Hello there, it is Tuesday the 21st of June 2016. Let's prepare to facepalm like we've never facepalmed before with the Regressive News episode 12. We'll begin with, now boys can wear skirts to class as schools introduce gender-neutral uniforms and a drive to be sensitive to trans children. I don't believe this should be something that we should be pushing on children.
The thing is, I wouldn't say it's pushing on children, it's giving children the opportunity, who probably have like what I've had in my childhood, which is why my childhood was a living hell, which is why I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder today, and it's because of this whole uniform thing and this gender segregation into the binary gender, or gender grouping into binary groups of All it is control and manipulation. But I've had my and I if coming from a background of parents who had forced surgery on me a month after I was born, which I was originally born with two genders, and then it was forced journey to choose a gender what they wanted. It kind of, and I knew since then, well, as growing up, I knew I was somehow different because the way my brain was wired up. And I didn't really understand it. And when I started exploring about it, I got punished at home and I got punished at school because I did not conform to the gender binary system. Where this system allowing children to explore their gender identity is a good thing because some of the children could come from a home where the parents would have strong religious views and a very primitive perception about gender and all that, and also we're gonna respond to what you mentioned about learning.
Are naturally confused about the world and uncertain about how everything works, and they should just be allowed to be kids, enjoy their childhood, and go about their day. They should be learning and growing and doing all those wonderful things.
If you're unhappy and uncomfortable in a learning environment, you are incapable of learning because you are basically your mind is preoccupied by stupid bullshit crap when you should be learning. And this is why I staggered a bit in my studies. Is because of the whole issue with my gender. I was not allowed to express my problems and get over it and focus on the work at hand. I was like really constrained from doing that, which is why I struggled with learning. I eventually got my degree and all that, but it would have I would have got it much quicker, perhaps even quicker than what the general people would get, who don't have these issues to worry about on a day-to-day basis, would do.
You do when you are a small child. This smacks to me of a form of indoctrination into something.
The whole two-gender system is a form of indoctrination. This is from my view of looking what have I've experienced in life. You were born one specific gender, and doesn't mean because you're born as one that everybody else is born like you with one specific gender. I was born with both, and I was forced to have one or the other, against my own will. And then as growing up, my mind was conflicting with things, and eventually I chose my gender identity, and it's still an ongoing battle for me. It's still a battle, and I'm sick of it, and and ignorance is just prevailing, which is so frustrating in itself.
To confuse them, and they shouldn't be worrying about this kinds of stuff. Now, the weird thing about this head.
If I was at school at this time when gender neutral school uniforms were allowed, I would not be thinking about gender things. I'll be like expressing myself, discover myself, and then focus on my studies.
Makes sense. Firstly, there are only two genders. There's no such thing as gender neutral. You are either man.
I disagree. I was born with both. There's not just me. There's many people who are born with both or somewhere in between, and even transsexual people are actually I consider are in between because their minds, their brain structure is not the same as the brain gender isn't the same as their the gender that the parts, the reproductive parts, the gender classifications of society.
or you're female. We're sexually dimorphic. There aren't 71.
If you want to be simple, there's actually 3 different types of genders of humanity. If you want to be simple and group the whole 70 whatnot into one thing as gender variant, there's actually 3. It's only in this society that they seem to just say 2 genders. If you go in your history and you look at the other cultures and all that, Native Americans, they had a 3rd gender group. Ancient India, they had a 3rd gender group. Japan, they had a 3rd gender group. All through human history, besides cultures that were influenced by Christians, the religion, the Judeo, the Abrahamic Christian Judaism, Islamic beliefs, even pre-Islam in Arabia, they see Muhammad said to exile. Even then, there were 3 genders, general genders, and also quite ironically, quite recently, I got in my mail because I'm subscribed to Rail Science. Complex circumstances that define your gender. There's a whole article about it. Science, you can't deny science and stuff. And then there are animals that can reverse their sex in order when the reductive mates become a certain scarcity. If there's too many males and some of them turn to females, and when there's too many females, some of them turn to males. So you get it in nature as well.
No. We're sexually dimorphic. There aren't 71 genders or whatever it is, or 91 genders, whatever the hell it says on Facebook. There are someone's transgender. They're either male going to female or female going to male. And they will likely, if they choose to, adopt the clothing appearance of the gender they're moving towards. What I don't understand about the headline is now boys can wear skirts to class, schools introduce gender-neutral uniforms. How is that gender-neutral? Okay, if a boy is wearing a skirt, that's a female piece of female attire. You're actually contradicting yourself throughout this article. Scores of schools have adopted gender-neutral uniform policies that allow boys to wear skirts. It's the same thing as the bathroom issue before. The idea that a child
that whole bathroom issue. That whole bathroom issue was a thing. That's why I originally decided to unsubscribe from your channel.
Bathroom they want to walk into that day. Because I feel like a male, I feel like a female. That's obviously concerning.
You don't understand transsexual people or any individual who's gender variant is that they don't feel that they are. It's the way their minds are wired up. It's like imagine yourself in a female body. You've got a mind of a male, but you've got a female body. Just imagine yourself. How would you go about doing things on a day-to-day thing? You'll actually see the whole situation a different light if you actually imagine yourself in their shoes.
And they can be confused, or they can pretend, or whatever. So this is something that an adult should be, in a reasonable age, in adolescence or in adulthood.
I disagree, because I've had a traumatic childhood because of this bullshit of binary gender conformity, and that's why I have post-traumatic stress disorder today, which is why I can't move forward with a lot of things, and that's why I'm on benefits, and that's why I can't move forward, because and then when I go and try and get employment, you just get like turned down, regardless on how much you know about what you've studied and all that. It's stupid. The whole thing is just pathetic, and you just seem to be promoting this bullshit. This is why I just couldn't take being subscribed to a channel.
I understand the weight of such a decision to change gender or identify as something else. But again, I'm still on the fence about it, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt, at least for reading this article. However, Christian groups fear that introducing a choice of uniform could confuse youngsters. I'm finding more and more, even as an atheist,
Funny. You claim you're an atheist, but you agree with the way the whole Christian thing. I would suggest look at other cultures besides the Christian-based cult. The culture, most England was built on kind of like a Christian culture because it was invaded by Rome and all. If you had to go right back before Rome invaded England, I wouldn't be surprised if they also had a sort of like a three-gender, simple kind of way of grouping society. Um, before the Roman Empire came into England, and tried to spread Christianity. When you look at the pagan parts in the history of England.
Christian conservatives. Quite honestly, it's just. Anyway, Alan Cross School in Birmingham is believed to be the first state primary.
Going on about that, it was actually this whole thing that I suffered through when I was a child that actually made me become an atheist. I was brought up in a very religious, conformative family. They believed in God and all that, and I've got a brother, and he's still kind of believing in the same sort of primitive Christian values of things, and he's now a teacher at a Christian school. And now imagine if I was born like you, male or just female. Do you think I would still be a religious, conservative point of view person? Do you think I'd still be like that? It's a good question to think about. I think when I think about it, it's this whole struggle of dealing with these things in my childhood. It made me look things in really deeply, and then find out that God just simply doesn't exist, and all of this beliefs is just bullshit. And which is making me like scratch my head and try and figure out, you're an atheist and you kind of agree with this crap. It just doesn't make fucking sense at all. Because much of this crap it originates or comes from the whole Christian belief. That's why when the settlers went to other countries to take over the native lands, they kind of and when there was when they found out there was like a third gender acceptable in society in cultures before colonialization, they soon abolished that, and anyone who was like a gender variant was considered an outcast of society, and we are still considered the outcast in society, and it makes me fucking mad that you are promoting this shit to treat us like outcasts in society. Things have got to change. People got to realize that it's just everything's not just fucking binary. For fuck's sake.
Where it has gender neutral uniform. Look at us, look how progressive we are. Head Paula Weaver said, there were pupils who do not dress along traditional gender lines. That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why along traditional gender lines. We have traditional gender lines, male and female. So have you introduced a gender neutral uniform? No, you haven't. You have a male and female uniform, and guys can wear the female one if they wish to. Which again, I'm not against. And the girls can wear the guy uniform. Again, trousers are gender neutral now anyway, aren't they? So I don't understand why they don't rest along traditional gender lines. Bizarre, it's all over the place. There's nothing scientific in this.
Traditional gender lines. That is basically like what I'm trying to describe here is when in the past much of the way that boys would dress as this and girls dress that. Obviously, some people are kind of like mixing the uniforms up, I think, and that's all. I actually don't really like uniforms in general. I think people should be able to express and wear what the hell they want. I actually hated uniforms when I was a kid.
No psychologist talking here. There's no. objective evidence. It's just it comes down to feelings. If transgender people only make up, 0.3% of the population, it's such a small fraction of people, it's a possibility that none of the kids in your school are transgender. Andrea Williams...
So we're basically like non-existent. Any gender variant is just like non-existent in society. You're just pushing us in the corner and just promote this bullshit.
Stern said that gender-neutral uniforms could mean schools were pushing an agenda on impressionable minds. I can't say I totally disagree with that. A government source said, Educate and Celebrate received funding for training staff to deal with transphobic bullying, not to help implement uniform policies. Now, I get that, right? So to deal with bullying, making sure the kids are safe from bullying, I can understand all of that. But dealing with transphobic bullying is a completely different thing than teaching about transgenderism or teaching kids, hey, listen, if you feel a certain way, you can choose the bathroom you want, you choose the clothing you want, if you want to be a girl, just, you know what I mean? These are kids. And it says here that they are overstepping their bounds because they're not supposed to be implementing uniform policies. Basically, I said to the government and the agenda groups that you align yourself with, stay the hell away from our kids, okay?
Basically, I would have, if I was you and I was back in the day, I would say still away from our kids with the flipping giant binary gender crap. Because it's ruined my childhood. It's given me... I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder today, which is actually a genuine medical problem, which is very hard to get out of or even cure. It's like you know, people go to war, they get post-traumatic stress disorder, and how they manage to date on things on a day-to-day basis, is they find it very hard to do it. And what you're doing the same sort of thing, promoting the same sort of thing. That's made me ill, which is why I just didn't want you to subscribe to the channel.
Transgenderism, I'm still agnostic on the whole thing. If there's real science behind it, then I have to change my opinion. But transgenderism is real, and there's an objective scientific measurement for it. And I can take my child to a doctor, to a psychologist, and they can say, yes, we can see here your son or daughter is transgender, and the best thing for them would be to transition based on what they're experiencing, and how this is impeding them psychologically, and how this is affecting their mental state, and what have you, mental and emotional state. That is something that a parent and a child will deal with themselves. That is not something the state should get involved in.
The thing is, everybody should be involved in it because sometimes, like with my story, is my parents were not they were very religious and they just didn't agree with it. And I think if there wasn't an opportunity at school to kind of educate my parents, and this is one way of doing it. I'm very much for it because I just don't want other children like myself to go through the same shit, and when they grow up, they can't get on with their lives because their spirits are, you could say there's the terminology that the spirits are broken, which is a term when you get a dog and you abuse it, and the dog has a shit personality because you'd say the spirit's broken. It's because the dog has been abused. I've been abused because of this gender shit. And you're actually promoting this abuse because of your ignorance.
You don't need to do that because what this sounds like is different. This sounds like you're pushing an agenda on children who are...
The whole binary thing is actually an agenda that's been pushed on through the ages by religion, the Christian belief, the Abrahamic beliefs.
By and large.
And people just trying to get out of that because when you look at other cultures, they think differently to you, like India, Native Americans, Japanese.
Most of them are not going to be transgender. If I'm honest, though, I can't help but feel this is just another Marxist attack, like feminists, on gender, a war on men and women, particularly the war on boys, attacking masculinity from a young age. Attempting to
There's a conspiracy theory.
Which is something feminism in academia has been doing for a very long time. Let's move on to the next story. 20-year-old migrant who raped a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, that's what I got to say. And And yeah, I mean, you go just before I go, you talk about Brexit, and in the end of your video, you just explained yourself why you feel the whole referendum is a load of codswallop, and then you just
Share this video and hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.
see vote. You said
And
you
all
just
of that.
explained yourself why you feel the whole referendum thing is a load of bollocks, but you still participate and say vote Brexit, which contradicts to what you said, how corrupt the whole referendum thing is. I'm not voting at all. Seriously, I'm not voting at all because I know the whole thing is a setup and to fuck people in the arse. And regardless whether it's Brexit or not Brexit, things are not going to be the same in the UK anymore. And that's what I call the referendum aftermath. I think I'm finished now with the video, and I hope you think about what you're saying. If you basically don't do research about gender and sciences and all that, then I would say, and you support the religious, conservative, primitive views about gender, and don't even look about other cultures about it that's been through history and all that, then I would say, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. That's if you just kind of like put me aside and continue on your political runt or push, I don't know, politically stupid political views, then I'd say fuck you, really. And I just don't know how I'll get the feeds. It's a great disappointment because I really liked your tech videos. Because I think that's the only stuff that I appreciate that comes out of your mind, besides political bullshit and especially the gender crap which you're totally ignorant about. Anyway, I hope you learned something, or do some research, and realize that there isn't only two genders.